Hello. Good morning, everybody. It is Father's Day, June the 20th, 2021. I think we've done 63 of these, somewhere around that neighborhood, 63 services on YouTube. That that would have seemed anyway. It's hard not to dwell on it. And I'm sorry I keep doing that. I keep dwelling on it. I keep saying, oh, well, it's been this long and we've had this many holidays, but yeah, it's just that's the impact, right? We've all been traumatized, and we're all articulating it in our own ways. And I just seem to articulate it and deal with it by stating the obvious over and over and over and over again. So I'm sorry about that. But then again, why should I be sorry? We're all on our own journey. Today is Father's Day, and again, it's similar to Mother's Day. It's an occasion holiday that the church has tended to ignore for many years. The church writ large, finding resources for Father's Day within the United Church of Canada umbrella is difficult at best. Um, but there was some stuff. There was some really good stuff that we found, so I was happy with that. But it's not widely celebrated. I shouldn't say that. It's not marked as an official day by the church in ways that other days are. And that's cool. I can understand their reasoning behind it. I really can. And as tempting as it might be to kind of roll our eyes at people who have different points of view, whenever we do that, roll our eyes at people because they don't agree with us or their experiences are completely different, we dehumanize them. So I don't want to do that. But at Rathwell, we kind of do our own thing when it comes to Father's Day. We always have celebrated it. And so we're going to celebrate it again this year. The thing that got me thinking though is it's also Aboriginal Day of Prayer tomorrow, the 21st, on the solstice, and we did have a service a few weeks ago where we did talk about Indigenous things, and we're gonna do that every week. We're gonna have the land acknowledgement every week. That's just the thing we do now. That's a thing we do now. Um, in addition to other ways that we are going to recognize harm and also recognize gifts too. It's a two-way street, right? So, but anyway, this Sunday, I feel like I gave it a nod. Certainly did, and made it a part of our service in various ways. But was not the focus of the service. The focus of the service is paternalness and patriarchy, the connotations of those words. We do celebrate communion, so if you're watching this and you don't have your communion elements ready, got plenty of time to do it. In fact, you could just pause the video, pause the main service video, just pick up where you were before. You can do that. So, but we do talk about, we have a nice little communion thing. It's less formal because it's online, and also because we tend to be less formal about communion on this particular week, Father's Day, the third Sunday in June. That's just been our practice. It's summertime. By this time, in the great before, the big end of the church year proper would have happened with the Sunday school barbecue. And of course, we didn't have that this year, but we're feeling more summery. And I thought, taking taking the service outside has been a good idea to have our people, do their parts outside. I don't know, it just feels kind of nice. So anyway, you're going to get more of that this week, and just let the service kind of speak for itself. In the meantime, Trina and I have our announcement time. I think we covered almost everything. One thing we did not cover, we should have, and certainly we'll pick this up next week. Is there's been a lot of work done in terms of sorting through all the goods that folks have brought in for various garage sales that did not happen. We have missed a bazaar officially. We have missed 2 plant and yard sales officially since this whole pandemic began. So things are starting to pile up a little bit. And now they're not so piled up because Judith Catilla has been in there doing some good work. So thank you, Judith. You've done some great stuff, and it has certainly helped out because we need to have that kindergarten / nursery / library room free and clear because we have a use for it this summer. Church is meant to be populated. It's meant to be a place of life and connection and learning and enabling and equipping and a positive place that the community can benefit from. And it has been during this whole pandemic. I'm talking the building itself has been. We've been good stewards of it because our daycare has been active and is growing and has used the building respectfully and wonderfully. And that's going to continue on through this summer. It should not be an empty, hollow shell when it can be filled with life. And the life that it's been filled with is, so I think we're up to 27, 28 kids. You never know it when you're there because they're so well looked after and behave. Um, but it's allowed, if you think about it, let's assume that all those kids have moms. All those moms are working and knowing their kids are safe and well looked after. So that's good. Something's here from Amazon probably. So we're very pleased with that. We've been able to do that. So if kids are there, the kids are learning, they're socializing, they're not been scooped out of their social world for all this time, and that's good for their development. Their moms are able to work, the women who work at the daycare are able to work, and the church has made that happen. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Rothwell, for that, because they may not be in there doing Sunday school or whatever, but they're in there living and learning and having fun, and they're joyful. And that's great. That's the church doing what's supposed to do. And I'm proud of us. I'm proud that we're doing that. And that will continue when we do come back. And whatever unease there might have been from some folks, myself included, about our space not being perhaps as unfettered as it was before, that's gone. It's gone for me because, my goodness, with getting down to brass tacks, I mean, without the income we've received from the daycare, we'd be in really big trouble. But it's not just the money; it's the income we get in terms of fulfilling our mission. And I'm very just glad. So when we do come back, there's going to be some times when we're going to rub up against each other. Of course, there's going to be some times when things are not going to be put back exactly the way that we wanted them to be, and that works both ways, by the way. And there's going to be feelings sometimes where a little bit not too happy about maybe having to shift some of our activities, like when we do some baking and do some other activities, maybe shifting them to evenings or later in the afternoon, shifting them off the site. There might be some folks who are feel a little bit funny about that, but let's work it through it. Let's work it out. Let's try things out. Let's experiment. I was so afraid to even mention that years ago, 2 years ago, when the thing that kept me up at night was people complaining and worried and upset. And I get it. I know why you're upset, because it's a real change. And there's feelings of displacement, often feelings of anger come with that. But come on, after all of this, I really do believe that there's a real spirit of just wanting to try and figure things out and innovate. And gosh darn it, if we end up making desserts or whatever to go in our freezer at somebody's house, there you go. That's an opportunity to experience hospitality and get the job done. And so I really do think that this pandemic is going to soften our social edges a little bit, make us realize that things that used to seem really like things that really were important to me, like hills that I would die on, um, my goodness, they seem like small potatoes after all we've been through, and after we've seen the value of community and what it's like when it's gone, and or at least displaced. So anyway, I wasn't sure I was going to talk. I didn't even mean to talk about that today. It just sort of came up. I love you all, even when you're cranky. Just I hope you love me too. Anyway, I'm late for church. It's so funny. I'm sitting right here at the same desk where church is going to happen, and I'm late for it because I've been nattering on with you folks. Bye for now, everyone. How do I stop this? I never really seem to end it cleanly. I end up just keep talking and